Hello, everyone, and welcome to the October PlantPredict webinar. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Andrew DeSmit, and I'm the Senior Manager of Global Product Marketing for First Solar. I've been with the company for the past 2 years. In today's webinar, we'll be covering a few of the topics from last month's webinar and touch on a few new topics as well. For those of you that are joining us for the first time today, we will observe a demo of PlantPredict using PlantPredict Premium. We'll learn how to close and compare projects, discover how batch predictions can save time and improve the accuracy of site optimization, experience Map Builder with 3D Site View to perform quick and accurate site assessments, and towards the end, we'll give everyone the opportunity to engage in a Q&A session. If you do have questions or issues, please submit them using the chat or questions feature of the Go to Webinar platform. And just a reminder, today's webinar will be recorded, and we'll send out a link to that recording to all attendees afterwards. With that, I'd like to turn it over to David Spieldenner. He's the PlantPredict product manager who will guide us through the demonstration. David?
Thanks, Andy, and thanks everyone for joining. I'm super excited to be back with you all once again this month. For those of you who were here in the last month, I know we had a lot of repeat registrants, and I'm so excited about that. We've had a fantastic month. This has been such an exciting time for us. We've had so many people subscribe. It's been so exciting, and we're just really thrilled with where we are right now, and glad to get a chance to talk to you once again. The plan is that we're going to do this on a monthly basis, so hope to see you back again next month, and we'll just continue pushing forward. There's so much to cover and so little time to do it. So I come to you with 22 years experience in the world of software development. 14 of those have been with First Solar. And it was really over the last 9 years that I developed a passion for solar development and really recognized the lack of good tools in that solar development space. And so we've been working on creating software that makes the solar development process easier and faster. And PlantPredict is a very important part of that. And so the PlantPredict Premium is the manifestation of all of that work. And we hope that you see the efforts that we're putting into this as very fruitful. And we have a long roadmap of development ahead of us and a full support from First Solar to take this software to the next level. So over the last 10 months now, since I took over the role of product manager, we've been really focusing on the launch of PlantPredict Premium. And I got up here the PlantPredict Premium pricing scheme that we're using. So PlantPredict is going to continue to be offered for free in a basic version. PlantPredict's always been free and it always will be free. So PlantPredict Basic is a free version that works fully well as a prediction engine. There's just a few things that you can't do in the basic version that you can do in the premium version. And I'm going to go over that a little bit through the demonstration. Our first tier of pricing is the individual license. So this is for just the individual engineer who likes a modern way of doing energy predictions. They can upgrade to the PlantPredict Premium for themselves for $75 or $750 for the full year. So this is introductory pricing that we're rolling out that's good through the end of the year, this roughly 25% discount. So you can sign up right now for a full year at $750 and use PlantPredict Premium. If you are part of a small organization, you can upgrade to the professional package. The professional package comes with 3 licenses. So because it's 3 licenses, it's a slight discount over the individual. So it's cheaper to go with the professional package than it would be to buy 3 individual licenses. You can see that's priced at $200 a month or $2,000 for a full year. So that's the best way to get the value, because you get the full year discount plus the professional package discount. Professional is the first level where you get admin capabilities as well as API prediction capabilities. So we give out 100 free API predictions a month with a professional package, and then every prediction after that is a dime a piece. The next tier up is our enterprise package, which is intended for those larger organizations where you're going to have more than 3 users. So for those customers, we're giving out 1,000 free API predictions a month. And once again, these are API predictions. So you get unlimited predictions through the user interface. It's only when you're using the API that we have this special pricing. And we do that just because those predictions do cost us money. And so we don't want to have a customer drive us into bankruptcy through the API, which is one of our concerns. So we do have a pay per use once you get over that 1,000, but 1,000 is a lot of predictions, and I think that in most cases that would be sufficient. So without further ado, we're going to start transitioning over to the demo. But before we do that, I'm going to hand it back over to Andy, and Andy is going to do a poll question. Andy, I think you might be on mute, my friend.
Sorry about that. On the screen right now, you'll see our first poll question: how experienced are you with PlantPredict? You can answer by selecting the white box right on the screen next to each potential answer, and we'll give everybody just a few moments to submit their answers. Okay, and it looks like the vast majority of people are in the category of never used it before, so that's great to see, followed by used it for several years now.
All right, so is it back over to me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So at this point, you should see I'm at PlantPredict.com, and this is where I'm going to start off. For those of you who have not been part of the demonstration before, I just want to give you a real quick tour of PlantPredict.com. So everything that I just went over regarding PlantPredict Premium is available on our PlantPredict Premium page with our pricing. We also have links where you can see some of the features that are available only to the premium version. So that's a way for you to get a taste, like for the 3D site view or the PLP 1000. We also have online our user manual. This is a very helpful guide that you should definitely take advantage of. If you're not familiar with it, you should become familiar with it. The one thing that I want to point out is we do have instructions in here on how to create a module file. I know that's one of the things that for the new premium users, they like to know how to create module files, and that's one of the questions that seem to come in through our support. We have that all documented in the user manual, so go out to the user manual and follow those instructions. And of course, if you have any trouble, you can always contact us at support@plantpredict.com and we'll help you there. We also have the models and algorithms page. This is where we document all of our algorithms. We try to be fully transparent with PlantPredict. We don't want it to be a black box. So one of the ways that we are going about that is we try to make the information readily available on our website so that you can dig into how some of these calculations happen. We also have a page for the PlantPredict API. So if you are a professional or an enterprise user, you get access to the API. Very powerful functionality. And if you have that, you'll want to check out our API Starter Kit and API Developer Guide, which are both posted on this web page. We also have a Python SDK. One of the most common ways that people interact with our API is through Python, and the Python SDK makes that much easier. So here's a place where you can go to get information about the Python SDK for our API. We also have our release notes where we put all of our what gets released on a monthly basis. Our press and events page is where you can watch last month's webinar and where you're going to be able to go to watch the replay of this month's webinar. We will be posting the webinars on the press and events page. And then next we have the contact page, which is just a place where you can go put in your information and have it automatically send to support@plantpredict.com. You can of course just send an email to support@plantpredict.com. Both will work, but this is just an easy form for you if you want to use that. Now, if you've never registered for PlantPredict, I encourage you to do so. Like I said, it's free. PlantPredict Basic is free. When you click on this, we ask minimal information. You hit the submit registration button and it will send you an email where you can put in your password and finish the registration process. If you don't get that email, check your spam filters. We've had users that do not receive the email and it goes into their spam filters. Definitely check that. And if you don't find it, please contact us. We will help make sure that that registration process is done properly. All right. So let's get started. We're going to log in. I'm going to log in as a basic user just to show you what the first login should look like. And this is important because some people don't know what to do. So this is what will happen right after you first register and you log in as a basic user. You by default go into the project library, and the project library is empty because you have no projects. The way to get started is you hit create new project, and from there the process just takes over from there. If you need instructions on how to create a new project, you can definitely watch last month's webinar where I started from scratch and created a project. Today, I'm not going to go into that though, because we have too many other things to cover. We also have component libraries, and this is something that's really important that I want to bring up. Just yesterday, we did a mass upload of newer module files. So this is a pretty big deal. We have not done a global module file update in a long time. So I'm going to flash on the screen here a list of model numbers. So you got some Longy, some Jinko, some Trina. So we've just uploaded what our current, basically the latest and greatest module files from those vendors, and they're available in the module library. So like I can look at the Jinko or Trina or Longy, all just by typing in the search bar here. If you put in the manufacturer name, it'll do the search for you, or you can put in the actual model number and it'll do the search for you. This is important. While you can add your own module files by clicking this add new module file if you're a premium user, as you can see, as a basic user you can't do it, but even if you're not a premium user, you still are going to have access to a lot of the most current, most widely used module files. And of course we also have our first solar module files. So anyways, I just wanted to make point of that and make sure that you guys were aware of it. So we have modules, we have inverters, and we have weather files. These are the global ones that we make available to all users. If you are a premium user, you can add new weather files, but you can't if you're a basic. But if you want to upgrade, it's real easy. All you have to do is click this Learn More button, and it's going to take you right to our subscription page. And it's on this subscription page that you can choose whether you want to do a monthly or a yearly subscription, whether you want to do premium or the professional version, or if you want to go enterprise, you're going to have to contact us because we will work out a deal that's going to work best for your organization. We also have a resources page. In the resources page, this is where we have some white papers that review the accuracy of PlantPredict. We've gotten independent engineering reviews from Black & Veatch, ICF, Leidos, and DNV. We put those right here on the resources page. So if you've never checked those out, I encourage you to do that. We have our terms of use always readily available, as well as quick links back to our web page for the user manual, model algorithms, and release notes. All right, now I'm going to log out as a basic user and log in as a premium user. And while I'm doing that, Andy's going to take back over and we're going to go through our second polling question.
All right, thank you, David. And our second polling question is, what features are most needed in utility scale solar software? We'll just give everyone a few moments to submit their answers. All right, and I'll close the poll for now and share those results. And it looks like the vast majority of people are looking for better layout tools, well, and all of the above.
I agree with all of the above. I feel like we need help in all of these areas. So thank you for participating. Those poll questions are just a way to get interaction with all of you, and I appreciate you playing along, and we find the information very helpful. So thanks for participating and responding. All right, here I am logged in. This is my premium demo user that I've been using. And for those of you who were part of last month's webinar, you'll remember that we did a project in Indio, California, just outside of Indio. And that's where we're going to pick up in this month. And we're now going to get into the bulk of the demonstration as we really showcase some of the features that we have in the tool. And so we're going to pick right up on this demo project, or demo prediction. So when I click on this, it's going to open up the prediction. You guys remember the steps to run a prediction. It starts off with your weather file, and then you build out your power plant in blocks and arrays, and then you make your model choices, basically your simulation settings, and you can run your prediction. So we're going to jump into the block or the map builder on this, which we did this as a map builder project. And you're going to notice here, I want to showcase a new feature that we just rolled out. In order to do that, I'm going to delete this and flood this because it's left over from my practice session. All right, so the new feature has to do with our KMZ upload. So when I click on the upload data up here, I have the ability to upload KMZ data. We've always allowed you to upload site boundaries, although we never gave you this menu before. So this menu here is something that is new. So always when you would upload KMZ data, it would assume that it was a boundary. Well, the request has come in, what if I have a KMZ of constraints? Is there a way that I can append those constraints to my boundary? Absolutely, you can now. So if I select this constraints option, I can then tell the system whether you want to append to the current design. And this is important because if you're uploading a second site boundary, you may want to append it, or if you want a new site boundary, you may want to start from scratch. But I'm going to append the constraint, and I'm going to go to choose file. So I have a cultural sensitive area near my power plant. When I hit submit, it brings in that KMZ layer as a constraint. So now I'm going to have to update my DC capacity, and you can see now my DC capacity is excluding that keep out area. I'm going to switch over to the satellite view so that we can see what this looks like from the satellite. I kind of like this view a little better. So as you can see, we have right around 18 megawatts DC, 16.5 megawatts AC. And we're able to just real quickly flood this in and see what the results were avoiding this culturally sensitive area. So it's a new feature. I'm just going to real quickly click on the 3D site view, and I'm doing this just for those people who have not seen last month's webinar, just so that you can real quickly see it. I go through in great detail all of the different topographical analyses that are available in the 3D site view in last month's webinar, so I strongly encourage you to check that out if you haven't already seen it. But I can at least show you what this power plant looks like in 3 dimensions just with the click of a button. All right, so here we go. And there's our cultural area that we're avoiding, our substation up there, as well as our wetlands. And we can see what this looks like from a 3-dimensional perspective very, very easily. All right, close that out. And we will turn off the slope constraint layer. That's what was carried in there. We also have the PLP 1000, which I went over, which gives you the ability to create real quickly a PDF document that you can then share with your colleagues. I'll just do that real quick just so that you all can see that. It's always nice to be able to take your layout and put it into PDF form for easy sharing with your colleagues. So here that is. All right. We'll close that out. All right. Okay, so now we're caught up from last month. I'm going to save my progress. And close out of here. I'm going to run my prediction now that I've adjusted my DC and AC with that new constraint that I had put into my design. Now, where PlantPredict becomes really powerful is the way that we're able to quickly iterate and do comparisons. And so that's what I'm going to really focus on here in the next portion of the demonstration. So I'm going to leave my prediction and go back to my project folder. So here's my demo prediction, and I'm going to clone this prediction. You can clone the prediction just by clicking this clone icon here. All right, what happens is everything that we had from that last prediction, including all of my map and my constraints and everything, just got cloned really quickly. Now, what I can do is I'm going to go into my map builder so that we can see this. And the thing that I want to analyze is I want to change out like my inverter. So in order to do that, I can just quickly click change on the inverter. And I'm going to try out a string inverter. So I'm selecting my demo string 125 and I save that selection. So with that, all of my arrays just disappeared because I made a foundational change to my design. I changed the inverter. So now when I hit update DC capacity, the system's going to reflood using my string inverter in place of my central inverter. Now when I hit save progress, I'll go back out here and I'm going to run my prediction. So just that fast, I created a whole new prediction with a new inverter, and I didn't have to really do anything other than just clone the last one. Now, whenever I'm doing this, the whole reason I want to do it is I want to do some comparing. So I'm going to close out of here, and on the project folder screen, we have this compare results option right up here. So when I hit compare results, we go into comparison mode. Then I select the predictions that I want to compare, and we will do a side-by-side comparison when I click this ready to compare. All right, so there you have it. So we have our clone on the left-hand side and our initial demo prediction on the right-hand side. As I scroll down here, you'll see that almost everything is exactly the same until we get to the inverter. That's where we see the string inverter as opposed to the central inverter. And now as I scroll down a little bit farther, we get to the actual performance. And it looks like the central inverter beats out the string inverter in this case. So we're getting a little less energy. If you look at this, we have 41.81 gigawatt hours from my central inverter, or 39.12 gigawatt hours with my string inverter. And then I can go down here and I can analyze what are the losses that could be contributing to that. Like we do have some differences in our inverter efficiency and our inverter limitation. So from there you can analyze it. And I don't necessarily know exactly why it's different, but that's what the type of analyses that you can do is you can dig into it and you can start analyzing it. Now, as I scroll up to the top, we also have a comparison report. When I click this export comparison, what it'll do is it'll take this side-by-side analyses that I just showed you, and it'll drop it into an Excel document. Now, when I click on this Excel document, it's going to open up and you'll see here's the same side-by-side side-by-side comparison that we saw on the screen, except for now it's in Excel. And so I can scroll down through these results. And the cool thing about this is we actually have the 8760 for each of these predictions as well, right down here. So you can, on a day-by-day, hour-by-hour basis, you can look and see what the difference is between these two predictions very easily. And we can compare up to 15 predictions side by side. So you can see we have lots of room to do a lot of different comparisons. All right, so I'll close out of there and come back over. All right, now I will exit that comparison. Now, thus far we've focused primarily on the map builder because the map builder is what's easy. Now, that's not the only prediction type that we have. We also have the block builder. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a block builder prediction. Now, this is for those of you who've been around for a long time. I do know that we have some very senior participants in today's webinar. Block builder is the traditional PlantPredict way of creating a prediction. So I'm going to walk you guys through that real quickly. All right, so start off with, you got to select a weather file. Just like in the map builder, you select a weather file, it brings up all the nearby weather files. I'm going to use this NASA weather file. And then save and close that. And then go into my PV blocks and arrays. All right, this is where it's totally different. So instead of a map appearing, you get the block builder. And the block builder is laid out to be kind of like a single line diagram. So it starts off by you add a block. The block is designed around the idea that you may energize your power plant at different times. So if you want to stagger your energization, you can do that. But within this block, we're going to add an array, and this is an array type. That's the way you want to think about this. We can specify information like transformer information, as well as some array level electrical losses like our data acquisition system loss or our nighttime losses. You can put that here at the array level. Within that array, we're going to add an inverter. So I'm going to go right back to my central inverter that seemed to perform a little bit better. And I'll bring that in. So I can specify my DC AC ratio for this inverter. And now I'm going to add a DC field to that inverter. All right. So the first thing I got to do is specify a module. So I'm going to use the First Solar Series 6 450 module. I'll select that. And here's our DC field screen. So the DC field screen is pretty cool. It's got a lot of information on here. So there's my module file that I already selected. I'm going to say that this is a tracker DC field. So I'm using trackers. I have different tracking methods. I'm going to use the true tracking tracker method. If you have any questions about these tracker methods, it's available in our user guide. We have a whole section on tracking methods. I'm going to put in my ground coverage ratio, 40%. All right, then down here, the First Solar Series 6 module comes in 6 module strings. That's how that works. So I can specify how many strings go on a table. I'm going to go with 4 because that's what I was using before, is a 24 module wide table. Now I'm going to select the field. And here you can see what that DC field looks like. Because I already specified my DC AC ratio at the inverter level, it automatically knows how many, what my nameplate power needs to be based upon the inverter rating, and then how many parallel strings that'll make. It gets us a module count. It also tells us how many rows, tables per row. Down here, you can actually specify if there's any terrain slope and what direction that slope is going. Now, going into the losses section, we have a few different DC level losses that you can specify: module quality, mismatch, light induced degradation. We also have some advanced losses. So like I was saying before, the power behind the block builder is that you just got a lot more knobs and switches and levers that you can pull to really hone in and drive your energy prediction to where you want it to be, much more so than you have on the map builders. That's why I think it's really important that you see that. All right, we also have our object shading section, which I'm not going to go into this in today's demonstration, just for the sheer fact that it could require an entire demonstration all of its own. But we are in a beta version of object shading where we can put near shading objects onto a grid and be able to see what the impact is of that. But I'm not going to dig into that. Instead, I'm going to just go back to, so this is what the block builder looks like in the, I'm going to just call it a single line diagram view. So you get your block, your one array, your one inverter, one DC field. So now up here you can see we've got 2.75 and 3.3 is our power plant side. If I'm shooting for about a 20 megawatt system, so I can get there by increasing my array count. So if I say 6, you can see just that easily what happened is that array basically got duplicated 6 times. And so now I'm up to just under 20 megawatts DC. And you can see it says repeated 6 when I mouse over my array. So that's how I know how many times this array is repeated. So I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to reconstruct my inverter, my DC field or anything. I just increased my repeat count of my array. All right, so now I save that and close out of here. Come down to simulation settings. I'm just going to go with my default values. Once again, we have standard default values that are in here. If you have a professional or enterprise version, the administrator is able to set these default values for your company so that you can get it dialed into exactly what your company wants to use. I want to save that, and now I'm going to run this prediction. What happens is we package up all the information we have and we hand it over to a queue on our server where a handler is waiting to pick it up and then process it. Predictions take around 10 seconds to run. All right, and then we can view the results. So there's the results. Just like we went over in the last month's webinar, we have a full result report here. All right, but I'm going to go back to my project and I'm going to do a comparison. So I want to compare how my block builder compares to my original demo. Let's see what the difference is. So I get ready to compare. And I'm going to scroll right down to the output section. How about that? My block builder and my map builder are almost exactly alike. Well, that was by design. I was trying to create a block builder that was very similar to my map builder. And so we're at 41.81 for my map builder and 41.8 for my block builder. All right. And now I will exit my comparison. All right. Now, the next prediction type that we're going to run is the batch prediction. All right. So I'm going to hit create new prediction. And this time we're going to go with a batch prediction. All right, so that's down here, build a batch prediction. So this is our way of running up to 350 predictions with a single click of a mouse button. So I'll select that. And here's our batch prediction screen. So in the batch prediction screen, you can come in here and you can select a weather file, an inverter, and a module and put these parameters in and start iterating over that. Or you can choose a base prediction, which is what I'm going to do here. So that block builder prediction that I had created, I created in a special way so that it would be available as a base prediction for my batch predictions. You can see here it says only predictions that have exactly one block, one array, one inverter, and one DC field can be used as a base for batch predictions. So that is one limitation. And the whole idea with batch predicting is not that you would take like a fully blown out design and iterate with it, but more that you would do some indicative analysis early on. If you want to try to understand what the best DC-AC ratio is for a location, best azimuth, best ground coverage ratio, you would do that with the batch predictions. And that's what I'm going to show here. So I'm selecting that block builder prediction as my base. It says setting a prediction as a base. The selected prediction will be copied from the original. So you don't have to worry, we're not going to be actually modifying the original prediction. It's just a little bit of a information window there. And there you see it. So my weather file, my inverter, my module, my megawatts DC, all that information automatically flowed in from that base prediction. Now I'm going to select that I want to iterate on DC-AC ratio. So I'm going to start at 1.15 and I'm going to go to 1.25. And I'm going to step at a 0.05 basis. So we're going to create 4 incremental steps. And then I'm going to look at azimuth. So I'm going to go from 178 up to 182. And we're going to do that on a 1 degree basis. So I've got 4 steps with the DC-AC ratio and 5 steps with the azimuth, which give us a grand total of 20. So you have up to 350 predictions that you can run at one time, and we show you how many is available. I'm using 20 of those. I'm doing only 20 just because it does take a little bit of time and we are limited in our time. So now when I click run prediction, the system is going to take that information that I just provided and it's going to create 20 predictions without the need for a CSV file or anything like that. And you can only imagine how long it would take me to go and point and click and create 20 different predictions. It would take me quite a bit of time, quite frankly. But because we put it in the hands of the computer, it goes relatively fast. And so now what you're seeing here is it's running those 20 predictions. It queued up all 20 of those predictions and then handed it off to the server. And now the server is off and running with it. We have a nice little status bar here that gives you some indication of where you are in the process. But one of the great things about this is because it's running on the server, your computer is not locked up. So you can go do other things. You can go check your email. You can do whatever. You don't actually lock up your machine while you're doing this batch simulation run, which is pretty important. And you can just come back then at a later point and go into the prediction log and see where your batch predictions are. Or you can just go to the project library and go back to your project and look at your batch predictions. You can do all of that whenever it's convenient for you. Now, with 20 predictions, it doesn't take too long. So that's why I'm staying here and I'm watching it move across the screen and giving you a little bit of information. Once it's complete, you click the View Results button. And the View Results button will bring up this view that gives us the ability to look at how things panned out. All right, so first off, we have a chart, and in this case, it's a 3-dimensional chart. On the, it looks like the y-axis, because our x-axis is our azimuth. Our y-axis would be our DC-AC ratio, and then our z-axis is going to be our energy production, is the way that this is laid out. So I can look at it. It looks like as the DC-AC ratio goes up, so does our production. Okay, that's a pretty straightforward thing. But as we look at the azimuth, we do have a little bit of a difference here. Now it's very subtle. It's more obvious if we look at the table on the right-hand side. And what this table on the right-hand side is it's all of our predictions sorted by plant net energy. So the very top prediction is the prediction that has the highest plant net energy. And check this out. It looks like azimuth 178 is going to produce the best results in this location. Now that's important because most people just by default assume a 180-degree azimuth is what's going to produce the best results, but that's not always the case. And you wouldn't know that unless you do some sort of an optimization run. And that's what the batch prediction capability is intended to do, is to give you the ability to quickly optimize, iterate, and see the results. Now, we're pretty limited in what we give you: DC-AC ratio, ground coverage ratio, and azimuth for a tracker system. If you have a fixed tilt, we also allow you to iterate on what is it? Basically your tracker or your fixed tilt slope angle, tilt angle, that's the term. The tilt angle is a fourth parameter that we allow you to iterate on in there if you're using a fixed tilt system. So it's not real broad, but it's something that's a little bit handy, and it's available through the user interface. No programming required. No CSV files needed to be prepared. We were just able to run it straight up in the system. All right, now we also have the ability to export these results. All right, now this may take a little bit of time because what it's doing is it's packaging up all of the batch prediction runs that we just ran and putting it into that same comparison Excel spreadsheet that I showed you a little bit before, including the full 8760. So we're going to have all these batch prediction runs with their full 8760 available in an Excel spreadsheet, which will allow you to, once again, just dig in and do further analyses. So here you have it. And here you can see what this comparison report looks like when you have many predictions lined up here. Now, this is not sorted in any specific order. You can see prediction 1, prediction 2, prediction 3, prediction 4. So it's not going to tell you that the highest producing prediction is in the first column or anything like that. That's not how this works. So you do have to coordinate a little bit. So it looked like it was prediction 12 that was our highest producing prediction. So there's our winner right there. All right. So jumping back here, that is our batch prediction capability. Now, if you have API access, you can do a whole lot more. And that's a little bit of what we've seen the industry go towards, is our really advanced PlantPredict users just use the API and they iterate on just about any parameter available. You can definitely do that if you have API access, and that's really powerful. But if you don't have API access and you're not necessarily a coder, this is definitely something that is helpful. All right. So we just demonstrated the batch. Oh, all right. We are starting to run short on time, but I do want to show one thing. Okay, so I have several things I'd love to show you, but we just are limited in time. Okay, PlantPredict is built on a cloud-based platform. We talk about this, we kind of breeze over it, but I really want to hammer this home for all of you. This is something that I think is really important. If you're part of an organization that has multiple engineers running energy predictions, and you use traditional energy prediction tools that you have to download and install on your computer, you probably know the hassle and the confusion that gets created when you have to share things like module files and inverter files and weather files and simulation files. All right. Well, what's great about PlantPredict, if you're part of a small team, is you can take a prediction like this block builder prediction and change the status to draft shared. So see how I've come in here, I change it from draft private to draft shared. All predictions start off in draft private, by the way. I'm going to change it to draft shared and hit continue. All right, I'm going to confirm that change. We do a few steps there just to make sure that you really do want to change the status, because now that I have made this prediction draft shared, it's now viewable by all the other engineers in my organization. And I'm going to demonstrate that by I'm going to log out as my user number 23, and I'm going to log in as my user number 24, which 23 and 24, actually 24 is Joe Solar. So Joe and Dave both are part of the same company within PlantPredict. And you can see Joe, he's not much of an overachiever. He has yet to do any projects for himself. And you can see the project library is set up here with the My Projects filter turned on, which is always the default setting. I'm going to turn off the My Projects filter. And now I see all the projects that have been created by other users within my company. All right, right there at the top is Indio. Now, when I click on the Indio project, you're going to see there's that draft shared block builder project. I don't see those other draft private predictions. I only see the draft shared block builder predictions. So now I can go into the block builder and I can make changes straight up in it. I'm going to showcase a really cool feature here. We have this quick edit link. When you click that quick edit link, check this out. You can update a select number of fields. I'm going to select all of these. We don't give you options to quick edit all of the fields, but we do give you some pretty powerful fields. And you can do an update right in here. Remember 178 was the optimal? I'm going to update my azimuth to 178 and save and close. I didn't even have to go into my prediction, into my power plant and go down to my DC field and update my azimuth. I was able to do it directly in this quick edit view. And this is really powerful if you have a power plant built out with multiple arrays, multiple inverters, multiple DC fields. Those will just appear as multiple rows on here. And there's even an update all button where you can like update let's say the ground coverage ratio, and have that flow across all of your DC fields just with the click of a button. All right, so I'm gonna run that prediction with my 178-degree azimuth and squeeze out just a little bit more energy out of this block builder. All right, now because we are able to share, you may get to a point of where you need to lock down a prediction. You know, that's something that happens. You don't want people coming in and updating a prediction that maybe you've handed over to a client to review. You don't want that changing while that review is going on. So we have a series of statuses that are read-only statuses. And so once you get beyond draft shared, we get into analysis, bid, contract, development, as-built, warranty, and archive. These are all read-only. So I'm going to go to the analysis status. When I click on that, I'm going to confirm my change. You're going to notice that this prediction becomes locked down. My status is analysis, and I can no longer go in and edit. I can still view through quick view, and I can view by clicking on that, but I can't actually go in and make any changes to this because it's locked down. It's in analysis stage. You cannot make any changes to this prediction. Now, you might say, well, that's not good. Maybe I need to make a change. Maybe after I review this with my client, I've got to make a change. Well, no problem. You can make a change, or you can't make a change to that prediction, but you can always clone it. You just clone it, and you pick up right from where you left off. Just you have a new version, and so you probably want to name it with the proper versioning, and you're able to do it that way. So that's just a way that we've created this system with collaboration in mind, so that it's easy to collaborate, it's faster to run predictions, and we're just trying to make things a little bit easier for your larger organizations. No more emailing SIM files, no more emailing module files. Just collaborate through the cloud-based platform, and we think that if you set up your processes properly, you can really drive efficiency across your organization through this. All right. Okay, it's time for Q&A. I want to make sure to give some time here for Q&A. So at this point, I'm going to hand it back over to Andy, who's been managing our Q&A queue. If you have any questions, you definitely can submit them. But Andy, why don't you transition us to the Q&A session?
All right, thank you, David. That was a great demonstration. Thank you for that. As David mentioned, we're going to go through some of the questions that were submitted by the attendees on the webinar today. The first question that was submitted was, are the individual users able to query the API?
Oh, individual. No, you can't. So that is one thing that is expressly reserved for professional and enterprise customers only. So as an individual user, you can use all the premium features except for the admin capabilities and the API capabilities. So sorry about that. If you are not part of a large organization, you will have to pay for a professional license in order to get that access. But that's just the way that we have our pricing structured.
Okay, great. The next question that was submitted was, are there plans to name the 3D axes in the future? I believe this was in reference to the 3D graph you were displaying.
Hey, that's a really good suggestion, because I struggle with it every time. I have to like look at it and think about what the values are representing, and a simple label on that would be a really good suggestion. So one thing that I just want to highlight for everybody, I interact with a lot of you all through our support at PlantPredict.com emailing, and sometimes you get an email back from Martin. We have a whole team behind this. Andy and Jutton and I are the faces that you guys are interacting with through these webinars, but we've got a fantastic development team. We've been working together as a development team for many, many years now. We are really a close, tight-knit group. And so you may hear from some of the other members of the development team on different occasions. Martin is one that is definitely customer facing, and we also have Jesse and Jason. So these guys may interact with you at some point, but what we do is we have a very efficient development process built on Agile Scrum methodology where we roll out new features every month. And so you're going to see a steady flow of new features coming out. We also are doing bug fixes, and we're also incorporating the suggestions that we get. So keep the suggestions coming. If you have any ideas, send it to support@plantpredict.com. We'll get it into a sprint, and you'll be able. That's one thing that we like about PlantPredict is you're going to be able to see your ideas implemented into the platform because that's just how we operate. We're very into our users and understanding what our users' needs are, and we will allow you to have an impact on the software and roll out features based upon your suggestions. So it's something that I don't think you'll get with a lot of other software packages out there, but definitely one that we take very seriously. All right, Andy.
Okay, great, thank you. The next question is related to batch predictions. Are there any plans to put an optimizer algorithm, or will PlantPredict always run all batches?
No, that's a good question. We don't currently have an optimizer algorithm in our roadmap, but I could see how we could do that, although I definitely would have to put some thought into it. So we don't have a direct path to it, is basically the long and short of it. So I'm open to feedback, and if there's some suggestions around how that may want to operate, definitely reach out to us, and I'd love to talk. But right now, that's just the way that we have it, is we run a slate of predictions, and then we just do comparisons within it.
Okay, great. One more question. Are the results of the batch run significant when with respect to the significant figs on the batch run? What is the numeric precision?
As far as like the steps are concerned, if it's in regards to the steps, I'm not 100% sure, quite frankly. I think that we go to several decimal places, the ability to step. Just you have to understand that the more precision you use, the more iterations you're going to need to run, which means the longer it's going to take. So that's always the trade-off and we don't limit you as to how many predictions. We just say you can only do 350 at a time. So it's not like with the API where we have like that 1,000 free predictions and then we don't do that through the batch. The batch is naturally limited by that 350 in one click limitation. So you can get very precise. You can go up to multiple decimal places. You just have to understand that when you're doing that, it's going to take longer to run, and it may take longer to get your results. But you can get very high precision. I don't know if we limit it at any decimal place, but I usually use 2 to 3 decimal places if I'm going to be stepping.
Okay, great. One more question came in. Can you highlight again what features come with the premium subscription tier?
Yeah, sure, I can. So let me kind of walk you through that. First off, the ability to create weather files. So add your own weather files. So if I click on new weather file, you can see we have the ability to either download weather files from weather file providers or upload your own like CSV or TMY weather files. You can do that. The ability to add your own inverters. So we have a few different options for adding your own inverters. So if you don't find the inverter you're looking for in our global list, you can add inverters and you can share them within your company. The ability to create your own modules is also one of those. Now the batch prediction capability that I just showed you, that is a premium feature. Within the prediction itself, the ability to add time series parameters, that's a premium feature. The ability to do energy storage. So I haven't touched on our energy storage capability yet. Definitely something I'd like to hit in an upcoming webinar is our energy storage. Now we do have a webinar from when we released it that's available on our Vimeo page that goes through that, but definitely a powerful feature, only available to premium subscribers. Then inside our map builder, we have several layers that are only premium. The 3D site view, the PLP 1000, those are only premium features. The object shading, I touched on the object shading today. I mentioned it and said we'll be covering that in a future webinar as well. That is a premium feature. And then the admin and API capabilities, those are also premium features only.
Okay, great. I believe this question is related to 3D site view. What if I have my own LiDAR topographical data? Can I use that with 3D site view?
Yeah, great question. So yes, the simple answer to that question is yes. So the way that the 3D site view works is by default, we pull in Google Earth elevation data. And so when you click on it, it's going to, by default, just pull in Google Earth elevation data automatically for you. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just part of your subscription fee. Now, if you have your own data, you can use your own data. And the beauty of that is, in some cases, the Google data isn't as accurate as you may want it to be or as you need it to be. So if you've paid for a LiDAR topo, you can actually take that data and import it and do all your topographical analyses with that data. We support two different file formats, the DEM and the TIF file formats are the two file formats we use. The DEM is a little bit more memory intensive. So if you've got a larger site, the TIF is a little bit more efficient. But both of those file formats you can generate either using AutoCAD Civil 3D, or if you use like ArcGIS, you can generate these file formats from those platforms, or you just ask your LiDAR provider, your LiDAR surveyor, to provide you the data in those file formats, and then you can upload them directly into your map builder and do all your analyses from there.
Okay, great, thank you. One more question. What are some of the features that are planned on the roadmap for future development?
All right. So one thing that, and I'm going to say next, and we were just talking about it today. So the ability to generate a bill of material for your power plant is something that is very handy, very helpful. And so we have plans right now to roll out a bill of material inside the map builder. So it's going to be something that's only inside the map builder because we need the geospatial referencing to do things like cable lengths and stuff like that. But within a map builder, you should be able to, with the click of a button, get a quick indicative bill of material that'll give you module counts, table counts, post counts, your different cable lengths, combiner boxes, harness pairs, all those types of values with the click of a button in a report, both on the screen and downloadable. So that's one thing that we've got going. Now, the ultimate goal and the direction that we're ultimately going is financial analyses. So the ability to do financial analyses. And I kind of hesitated on the question around optimization because when we get to the point that we're able to do financial analyses, we will have a higher, more appropriate optimization algorithm built into the system that will allow you to optimize around like a PPA price or an IRR value. So that's something that I'm really excited about. We've actually built that. We just haven't built it into the system yet, but it's something that I'm really looking forward to rolling out. And these things are probably going to roll out over the next couple quarters. So if you want to get on the bus and go on the ride with us, we would love to have you with us as we roll these features out. You'll get a chance to see them as they develop, and you'll also have the ability to influence them. But once we get to financial analyses, then we're going to be able to do optimization the way it should be done, which is financial optimization. So I'm really excited about those capabilities. They're on the roadmap. The team is working towards them and looking forward to rolling those out.
Okay, great. Well, that's about all the time that we have for today. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions. If you have a question that we didn't get to in today's webinar, we'd invite you to submit it by email to support@plantpredict.com or use the contact page at www.plantpredict.com. And please don't hesitate to contact us if you'd like us to conduct a private demonstration for you or your organization. We'd also like to invite you to follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn as well, where you'll find topics for next month's webinar that will be announced in the coming weeks. So with that, we'll conclude today's webinar, and thanks again to everybody for joining.